Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well today. Sun's out, last week of the summer. I just want to do a little video here about some of the techniques I use for doing wood grain. And in my drawings, I'm going to be using these, the Rotring ink pens. I have a 0.2, if that can focus, and a 0.35 and a 0.5. If you bought the set that comes in a box like this, your 0.35 was probably a 0.3. I had to replace my 0.3 with a 3.5 because I accidentally broke it. And so I'm just going to be doing some of the way I do my wood grain on like the sides of houses, old barns and buildings and what have you. So I usually start off with a where's my pencil? And I've lost my pencil. Of course I lost my pencil. You know why I lost my pencil? Because I need it. Oh, here it is. I always lose what I need right when I need it. So I'm just going to start. It doesn't matter what pencil you use. You can use any pencil, but just maybe a lighter lead. And I just sort of start off, just giving you an idea of your direction and maybe where you want some knots, some wood grain knots to show. You don't have to do it just like this, and your wood grain knots could be bigger or smaller or whatever. So that's just to get you going there. So I'm going to start off with the 0.2 first, and I just start to do this just to get the flow of it, just to establish some of my basic shapes and my basic layout for the wood grain. You're going to find with the 0.2 that it does skip a lot, so you kind of have to go a little bit slower. Just be very rough. Don't try to be, if you're just let it flow, and it will look more natural. And put your cap back on when you're going from one pen to another. I'll put these two right here. Oh, actually no, I'm going to go with the 0.5, sorry. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw my solid areas first, like my large cracks, things like that. So I get a nice big crack here, like that. So this would be like where the wood maybe split or whatever happened. Maybe a little one here. Add one more here. You can go pretty fast with a 0.5 because it's nice and thick, so it's good for filling in areas. If I have large areas to fill in, sometimes I'll use like I have this ink brush here that I'll use. It's hard to see. I think it's focusing on my hand or something. This is an ink brush with refillable ink cartridges, so sometimes I'll use that. So I'll go back to the point. Now I'm going to use the 0.35, or in your case it could be the 0.3, it doesn't matter. So I just start to create some lines. And don't be too perfectly symmetrical because you want it to be natural looking. So you don't want your spaces to be exactly equal. And I just do like a spiral circle then, where it's like this, and go in and fill it in there or whatever, right? And same thing here again. So you're just being pretty rough with it. Unless you're planning on your drawing, someone's going to look at it from 2 inches away. Don't worry about it being 100%, because you're just going for the impression of a knot in the wood, where a branch broke off or whatever, right? So if you want, you can draw in some cracks. Sometimes little cracks will spiral out. Excuse me, like this, or whatever you want to do. And if you want to go hyper detail, you can go in with the 0.2 and just sort of draw in little thinner lines in between. And just be very rough and scratchy with this. So that's that one there. So for this one here, we use the same pens again as before. And I'm not going to use the pencil like I did last time. I'm just going to go at it here. So let's say if you're, what should I draw here? Oh, okay, let's say like a window. Let's see if you had like a window here, and then you got the sill, and then you got the side pieces here. A lot of my drawings have, yeah, obviously, because they're, I usually like doing the theme of abandoned places, so I'll have like a lot of doors and windows, which makes sense in buildings and places like that. So I'll just draw some siding here, very rough to start. Try to keep it sort of symmetry. Oops. If it's like an older house or whatever, then it's okay to be a little bit wonky. Like I made it here, like this is crooked and this is a bit wavy, and so is this, right? It keeps that theme of an old place or old house or building, whatever. No, just actually, I'm going to use the pencil for this part here. Just to make sure I got it fairly symmetry with this window frame, the window panes, I should say. There. I like to be a little bit wonky sometimes. It just keeps that old, rough, abandoned old, ancient theme. It keeps it nice, gives it a nice feel, I find. If you wanted to be more precise, and you can use a ruler, whatever you want. I like to just do everything freehand. Sometimes with my drawings, I'll do like the basic geometric, the overall geometric shapes with the ruler, just to get my perspective set up properly. And I'll do that in pencil. Other than that, I'll do everything pretty much freehand. Start off the window frame. Just little cracks down here. Cracks on either end. And give it a little bit of a depth. So I create a little bit of a, it sticks out from the siding. So, and then it's below, so there'd be a bit of a dark area shadow. And let's say I'll make the sun over here. So the shadow, and you might see a little bit of shadow here, and then a bit of a one here. Make this side here a little more solid, just to give it a slight three-dimensionalness feel to it. Being that the frame would come out a centimeter or an inch. If you're imperial metric, it would come out that much from the window. Just throwing some cracks here. Or sorry, knots. Just gonna go back in here and just solidify these window panes here. Because I'm going to come in here with the ink brush and fill them in with the black ink. You can use the 0.5 for that if you like, if you don't have an ink brush. They're not that expensive. You can get this particular one. It's a Japanese one. I've had this for 4 years. They're really nice. You can buy ink cartridges for them. So you can fill this in, all these areas here, right, with the 0.5 or the ink brush. I'll show you both actually. So I'll just start off with the ink brush one here. And it's nice about the ink brush is the ink is very similar to the same type of ink that Rotring pens use, which is like this, which comes with the Rotring set. You can buy them individually too if you have to. I think you can buy colored ones as well. You can buy white and I think brown. But if you do that, you should have dedicated ink pens for those other colors if you use them. Like, don't take an ink pen you have that had black ink in it and then swap it out with white or whatever color. It's just going to take you forever for the color to transition. It's better just to buy a whole new pen. So I'll just show you this part up here using the 0.5. It takes longer. If you want, you can actually even do this and just sort of create almost like like maybe there's a bit of a reflection in the glass. So you're leaving like little white areas uncovered. Just give the impression of it's a reflection or maybe something behind the glass. Or if you want, you can take a little paintbrush with some ink wash and draw a reflection in of like a tree or whatever. I've done that before. You really got to plan that out. So just going to go back and forth here just to draw some wood grain here. And I'm not even going very light and very heavy. But again, like I mentioned before with the 0.2, you got to kind of slow down a bit, otherwise the ink will skip because its point is so small. And then when you do this side right after. That way you have it ingrained in your mind. You're kind of subconsciously keeping them fairly similar. I mean, you can go from here to here to here to here, but just better to go from right to left or left to right than then top to bottom or bottom to top. Being that I'm left-handed, I went from the right to the left. And if you notice, I flipped my paper over just so I didn't want to have my hand on this, and you guys can see this as well while I'm doing this. This is where it gets a little tricky because I have to go like this. Because if I was right-handed, I can just go like this. But because I'm left, I do this a lot. You can just go back and darken these areas here if you want. Just makes it give the appearance of like aging. There. Like that. So now I'm going to do the siding part here. Oh, maybe draw a few little knots here. This would be like old wood siding in an old house from maybe the 1800s, 1900s, before they had vinyl and aluminum siding. So you maybe see some knots. I know the modern siding, they show that, like the fake wood grain. You know, this is the real stuff here. You just add little lines at the bottom, long lines and short lines and long lines, just going back and forth. Just give the impression of like age and moss and whatever else, and just that's it. So yeah, Maybe do some tree bark here. No, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Do a little block of wood here, or the corner of one in a 3D perspective, like this. So let's say this is a piece of cut wood, and you're just seeing the end of it. And obviously at the end cut, you're going to see the tree rings. And they do get consecutively bigger as you go out, and smaller in the middle. And sometimes you'll have some cracks here and there. Maybe a little knot. A crack down here. Because there's a crack here on this surface, obviously this crack is going to have depth. So it's going to continue down like this. Yeah, so let's make this one deeper, like that. That's my pencil layout. There, changed the angle of my camera slightly. It was tilted wrong. So I'm just going with the 0.35, 0.3 in your case perhaps. And just making these a little more evident. Maybe crack here. And this wood knot here. And the other crack right here. And then the bottom of the board here. There could be a crack down here too even. Oops. Just going with my 0.5 and just shade this in a bit. You don't have to do it exactly like this. You could make this, maybe you can see wood grain going down in it, depending on your lighting. I just like to just do it like this, just to give the show of that there's the crack in the wood, and it follows the grain of the wood as well, right? Do a few little big, small cracks out here and there. Some little dark areas. Like that. So let's see, yeah, I'll go back to the 0.3. And just going to start to do these rings. Maybe go a bit slower with this, just so there's a thought pattern to it. Like I mentioned earlier, they do get consecutively bigger as they go out, usually. I could be wrong. Write in the comments if I'm wrong. If you're a botanist or whatever, then let me know. I haven't cut down any trees lately, so. Or maybe this was a bad year here. Okay, it was a bad year right here. So there's a smaller ring like that. Oh. And I do my knots the same way as I did these ones here. And I'll maybe make some little star patterns that come out from there, where it split out. Yeah, like that. these cracks will usually follow the grain unless they're made by an axe or something like that. Like if this was made by an axe, it may go this way, but if it's a natural crack, it's going to follow the grain of the wood. See, I kind of veered off here a bit. So I had this little area here, so I just put in some V-shaped wood grain. Yeah. That's why it's good to just let your hand go. And it just makes it more natural if you have some unexpected things like that occurring on your drawing. So I'm going to do this in the point. I'm going to finish this up before I go on to this other area here. Again, I'm just being very, very rough with the point too, just to give the impression of detail. Just putting in some lines in these open areas here. So like so, okay. Go back to the point 3. So I want this part to be a little bit darker because let's say the sun is hitting the top, it's going to be brighter. And this side here will be in a bit of a shadow here. Like so, here. So now this side here, I have this. I want this side to be nice and bright because it's cut wood, so it's fresher. It hasn't been bleached by the sun, or what do you call it? Sunburned by the sun over the years, right? So this was just cut, let's say, so it's like nice and fresh, bright wood. Back to the point 2. And I'm just following in between my rings, very, very rough. And if you want, you can fill in these areas here if you want it to stand out a bit. So maybe I will do that. Oh, and label it. So that's it. This is my, oops, my pen. My example number 3. So I hope if you made it this far, congratulations. And you didn't fall asleep. And I'll put chapters in my video. I'll try to remember to do that so you guys can watch particular parts whenever you want. And I hope you got something out of it. That's great. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.